I think that's what makes our TCG feel like an RPG, and it's really exciting in gameplay. Welcome back, guys. In the previous video, I showed you how to play Everdawn, how the game works. We went over stuff like card anatomy, the layout of the field, combat phases, win conditions, strategy, deck building, all that kind of stuff. And if you watched that video, then you should have a pretty good idea of how to play Everdawn. But today in episode 2, the thing I want to talk about is how the game feels. You know, when you're learning a new TCG, there is a moment in the process when you're in the middle of a duel and all of the rules that you've read before and all of the things that you knew about the game kind of culminate into this moment where you kind of understand like what's the vibe. Like you get the feeling of how it is to play this game. The feeling of combat, is it slow or is it fast? The nuance of the strategy, how it plays against your opponents. All of that stuff just kind of comes together and you get the feel of the game. And that's the thing that I hope comes across to you in the video today, that you get an accurate representation of what that feel is. And honestly, this is really important to me because I don't think that you can understand that thing that we're talking about, the feel of a game, just by reading the rules. That's pretty obvious. But also to me personally, this is incredibly important because when I was building this game, I wasn't building it with mechanics first. I was building it with the intent of chasing a very particular feeling that I think, honestly, we've captured extremely well. That feeling came from a bunch of different inspirations. One of the biggest was RuneScape for me. I mean, I played countless days of RuneScape growing up and all through middle school and high school and even some college. I mean, some college buddies and I, we used to just hit the nostalgia vibe and just kind of binge that for a few weeks at a time, and it was awesome. And one of the things that I really loved about that game is the different types of combat and how they all worked together and how they worked against one another as well, which is kind of where we got our RPG combat triangle from. I know that other games kind of use that, but that was the inspiration for me to pull that into our trading card game. The approach of how you equipped yourself heading into a boss fight or heading into a PvP battle, you know, or whatever. I mean, all of that stuff was very intentional. You had to be very well thought out ahead of time of what you were going to bring and how you were going to approach combat. And that in itself was a part of the feeling, right? The other thing was Lord of the Rings. I mean, obviously, Lord of the Rings for me was a huge inspiration, just the entire high fantasy world. But not just that, it was really the combination of the characters. I mean, you think about like Gandalf and Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli and all these different creatures and Frodo, right? I mean, he's totally different than all the other ones. But there was this dynamic of like the fellowship, right? Quote unquote, where the fellowship all had their strengths and weaknesses that they kind of brought to the table. And it kind of had this like this party feeling of like, man, you can't do it alone. But there's a bunch of other characters that are involved in accomplishing the mission that you're a part of. And this is pretty typical where like the fighter does one thing, the ranger does another thing, the wizard does another thing, the hobbit does one thing, you know, so everybody kind of had their role to play and it was all very specific. And figuring out how all of those pieces work is a part of the fun of the strategy. And again, there's a piece, another puzzle piece of that feeling that we were kind of putting together and that we were chasing. And Dungeons and Dragons, right? I mean, for the past 8 years, I've been the dungeon master of a few different campaigns and I've consistently stayed with it. And I just love it. The thing that I love the most that we've pulled into this game is the idea that at really any moment, one bad dice roll, right? Something can happen and totally change, you know, what's happening with the combat or the party or the interaction or whatever's happening in the session. It's just such a swingy type of experience where you could roll a nat 20, you could roll a nat 1, and then something totally changes because of that. You never know what's going to happen. And so again, there's a part of that feeling that we were kind of chasing in the creation of this game, that at any moment, the battle could turn one way or the other, and that it's fast paced. It's a quick decision making type of experience, but you've got to do it based on the strategy that you've kind of pre-planned ahead of time. Now, are there elements of those three things that show up in other TCGs? Well, for sure. I mean, there's to some degree, yes, there's some of that in other TCGs, but I do think there are some very specific things that make ours unique and very different. And I think you'll be able to see the inspiration from those three ideas heavily in the gameplay of our game. I think that's what makes our TCG feel like an RPG. And it's really exciting in gameplay. So what we're going to do is we're going to move into a mock duel. I might make some wrong decisions, and that's okay. I'm going to explain, hey, this was bad because this left one of my creatures exposed and now opens a lane or whatever. I'm not going to make every perfect right decision, but that's also kind of intentional, just to kind of show you what the gameplay looks like back and forth when you're making quick decisions. All right, we're going to jump into the live duel. I'm going to go ahead and set everything up, and I'm just going to kind of fly through this a little bit and show you just kind of different combat events that might happen and things that are interesting to help you, again, get the feel of the game. Like what does it feel like when you're playing it? So we'll highlight some different creature effects and spell cards and all that kind of stuff. But we'll kind of chop it up so you don't have to go through every single turn of a game, especially when it's just me dueling myself. It's a lot of like going back and forth. So we'll go ahead and set up the field. First thing we'll do is we're going to go ahead and shuffle all these cards here. All of the creature cards that you're going to see, by the way, are placeholder art, but they are almost completed. All of the support cards are done, but the creature cards are still getting done. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and set the field. We're going to draw from our creature deck. 1, 2, 3, bench 2, bench 3. I'm going to flip them over, except Fenwick. Fenwick's done, so that's fun. And then we're going to draw 5 from our support deck into our hand. And we drew some 2 spell cards and some equipment cards, which is good. We're going to look at we've got a when played, draw 2 cards, when played, draw 2 cards, and on death effects. So we're going to go ahead and draw 2 and then draw 2 again for these cards here. And it looks like we got some more spell cards. Okay, we're pretty stacked on our spell cards right here. So we're going to go ahead and go into our set phase. So we're going to go and try and equip some things. We're going to match our types because we have a whole lot of cards in our hands to do that. And then we're going to go here, it's accessory, and then save these spell cards. We got some good spell cards. Which are great. Okay. Because we're going first, we're skipping combat phase, and so we'll skip to the end phase, which is draw up to 5, or if you're at 5 or over, draw +1. And so we'll draw +1. Have another spell card. Combat phase, prevent any opponent counterattacking this turn, which is great. Okay, so we'll pass it over to the opponent, and just so you know, what you're looking at is like we've got our field, like we described in the first video. We've got our champion that starts the bench. We've got Soren's Guard, bench 2, Dragon Blood, bench 3. So we got our bench down here, creature deck here, support deck here, bench, and then the field right here. So, and then you've got a little key card to help you with your combat triangle to know when to add your bonuses and your advantage and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and set the other person's field and draw their hand as well, and then we'll skip forward a little bit to start highlighting some things in combat. Okay, so I've set the other person's field. So in this first round of combat, what we're looking at is Lunar Wolves has the ability to attack anywhere on the opposing lanes. Dragon Blood can only attack straight ahead and counterattack straight ahead, and then Wanderer can go straight ahead, or it can go over an adjacent one left or right. And so if the range was in the middle, that would be good because it could attack all 3 lanes, but it's here, so it can only attack Fenwick or the opposing Wanderer. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and try and figure out our win condition approach, because we've got a pretty good system here where Lunar Wolves, Dragon Blood, and the Wanderer could all attack into lane 2, the opposing lane 2, and we could do some morale damage because all of these cards at least have the ability to kill this card. So we know that we're not going to waste any of our attacks because this card will have the first right of defense to choose which attack it absorbs first, and then all the other attacks will go straight to the opponent's morale. But whichever attack it absorbs, it will get to counterattack as well. In that case, we are going to play the Midway Camp spell card to negate some of that damage. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to declare all 3 of our cards into the opposing lane 2. We're going to pass it to the other opponent to let them have the first right of defense. And there's a lot of spell cards that we have as options here. And now it looks like we also have Midway Camp as a card that we could play. So we could play this, and it would negate all of it would receive half damage in a chosen lane this whole combat phase. So every attack that comes into this one lane for this attack or for this round, all of the damage would be halved. And so this 21 would be cut in half, rounded up, and then this would also be cut in half, and then this also be cut in half. And so none of these attacks would actually be enough to kill Old Fenwick. And Old Fenwick would be able to choose which one he's going to counterattack on, in which the opposing player would also play that card because they've also got Midway Camp. For the sake of showing you the vibe of the game, let's just assume that we do not have this card. And so we're going to draw back in our hand, pretend like it's not there, and we're going to have to choose which attack do we absorb, because they're all three coming into this one lane. The one you absorb is the one that you can either counterattack and kill on the counterattack, or has the most incoming damage. Now, the reason that you want to prioritize a counterattack first is because, for example, if this card dies in the counterattack, then this lane is now open on my combat phase, and I could send all three of my creatures, the Wanderer, Old Fenwick, and Eldrick, all into this open lane too, and totally destroy the opponent's morale on the first round of combat. So that's what you want to prioritize. And it looks like we could actually take out any of the opposing creatures because of how much attack Old Fenwick has. And so we're going to choose to go for the strongest creature and the one that we can take out with a counterattack, because this one's coming in with 21 points of damage into this open lane. And so we don't want to leave it open for him. So Old Fenwick's going to see all three of them coming at him and is going to throw himself at a Dragon Blood and absorb the 21 points. And so it's going to kill it, but before it dies, Fenwick gets to counterattack, and the counterattack does the 21 points of damage right back and is able to kill this creature. So we had first round, or first right of defense. We have a spell card. We decided not to play it because of just showing you the game. And so then the attacking player gets to then do their right of defense. And so you can't stack back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like you have a card, I have a card, we play the card, and we go back and forth like that. It's just they have one chance to defend, and then we have one chance to also defend or to play spell cards and that kind of stuff. And so with that, we're going to play Midway Camp. And so in this counterattack that would have killed Dragon Blood, we are going to play this and have the damage. So it'd be 21 divided by 2 and then round it up. And so that is not enough to defeat this 18 defense. He has type advantage because it is the first round of combat. And so, yeah, this situation worked out pretty well. So the creature, Fenwick, is going to go. This spell card is going to go for us. And then so this was negated, this attack, because that's the one that he absorbed. But now it's a 14 plus 4. Anytime that there's attacking an open lane, you get to add your advantage is always assumed. And so 14 plus 4 is 18. And then you have 16, 19 damage. So that was 37 points of damage total into this lane from Lunar Wolves and from the Wanderer. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go here, and we're going to subtract 37, we put them at 63 points of morale. And so there you can see, even at the very beginning of the game, you can really determine what your win condition approach is going to be. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward into like late game combat to show you what that's like as well. So I'm going to reset the field. We're going to fast forward a little bit, and then we'll pick it up in a second. Okay, so here we go. We are a little bit later in the game. Morale has been knocked down to 70 and 53, and both champions have been played. On our side of the field, it looks like let's get our bench back, our hand back into our slots here. We've got a Ranger's Vest and 3 different spell cards. So we can go ahead and place this here for some defense. To protect our champion. We've got Soren's Guard. Soren's Guard is in a good spot because it has, if your creature is destroyed, it immediately revives itself when used only. That's Lothrio's Berries. That's pretty good because it can just kind of throw itself at an attack. It can also reach anywhere. So we need to figure out what is the best play because we're 2v3 right now. And it looks like a good play might potentially be going Soren's Guard over into the Beastmaster, over in this opposing lane all the way across because it could not reach back on the counterattack. It looks like if we attack here or here, we're going to be suffering a loss. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that and play it safe. So Soren's Guard is going to attack over here into the Beastmaster. We're not too worried about a counterattack because of this card, but if we can take this out and keep this and not have to spend it, then we'll do that. So we could go straight ahead for Trigroom, and Soren's Guard could go into over here and attack, and that seems like a good move. So we're going to go ahead and declare that. And yeah, we're going to declare that into our combat, and we'll let the opponent first right of defense, see if they've got anything. And so it looks like we have a nice little spell card here for Divine Destruction, which is add 5 points of damage to any single attack or counterattack. So even though we would die in this attack, we could add some damage to our counterattack and also kill High King Aranor as well. And here we could play Change of Destiny and change this from range to magic. And that way we would be able to, even though we would die on this attack, we would also be able to attack here and force an expenditure of Lothrio's Berries because we would finally be able to reach back. So that seems like the plan. That seems like that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and first right of defense, we're going to play Divine Destruction for our counterattack back into High King Aranor. So even if we die, we are going to take him out with us, and then we are going to play Change of Destiny into this lane. So again, you can only play one spell card per lane per turn, but this is working out pretty well. So we'll change this from range to magic. That does mean that instead of the 13 plus 4, we don't have the combat advantage anymore because we're the same type. And also this goes from +3 to +1 because now it's no longer a range type. So we do have 14 points of damage though, and that is against the 12 defense. And so that is enough to defeat this card. So it turns into a magic type, attacks back. So that was the first route of defense. That's what we have said is our defense. We're going to turn it back over to the attacker and see if they have any response. Again, you can't you can't stack turn, like go back and forth like that. You have the first route of defense and then the second route of defense to see if the attacker can do anything, and then that's it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go and draw these. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Man, this is like spell card mania. So like at the end of the game, or when you're in this end game where you have lanes that are open and things like this, that where everything's kind of happening all at once, this is kind of what happens. This is kind of the vibe. So what we're going to do is we're going to cast in response Whispering Winds. So what we're going to do in response is we're going to cast Whispering Winds here for High King Aranor. And so Trigroom, even though he adds 5 points of damage to that counterattack, the counterattack is now negated. And so that does nothing. And so this is going to go, that's going to go. His creature is going to die. And then this attack back to Soren's Guard, what we're going to do is we're going to cast Resting Fortress, and we're going to redirect this opponent's attack from this lane to a lane of our choice. This counterattack is now going to go land in lane 2, and High King Aranor is going to absorb that. When this happens, it doesn't trigger another counterattack. It doesn't just keep going back and forth like that. So this counterattack is just going to land and dissolve here in lane 2, but then also leaving this attached for Soren's Guard. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're to end our turn, we're going to draw back up to 5. So we'll draw 4 more cards. And we'll do some spell cards, some equipment cards. Okay, then we'll pass it over to, now it looks like we've got 4 cards because we played some of our spell cards. So again, you draw at the end phase, not the beginning of the turn. So if you use cards in combat like that, then you have to be careful because now you have not as many left. And so we're going to go into our set phase. And it looks like we are going to slide this guy over. You can't hop creatures, so I can't do like that. But if I have a creature, if I have a lane that's open, I can slide them back and forth in my set phase. And so let's see. Now that our creature is dead, by the way, Tragram is dead. And so now that that's true, we cannot set cards in order to offer the bonuses to other cards. We cannot do that anymore. Okay, this one has the highest attack and the lowest defense. And so we're going to play this. It's a huge shield that adds a +5, but also it's too big for movement. So it removes some combat there, or it removes some attack, -2 attack. And so it looks like we can play that there. And I'm probably going to attach this here. Warrior's Bane. It prevents this card from being counterattacked this turn. So in this situation, we've got a 12 + 4, 16, 17, 18, 19, which is enough to defeat this card. The counterattack would kill it, but it's got a prevention card right here that allows it to not be counterattacked this turn. And so I have a decision to make. I can either attack straight ahead here, or I can send the Beastmaster into this open lane, which is probably what I'll do because I cannot attack straight ahead and defeat High King Arnor. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send Wanderer straight ahead and then Beastmaster into this open lane to attack morale. And we'll calculate that. So that removes this card because it's a 1-use only. Also removes this card because it's a 1-use only. But this card has an on-death effect. And this card allows it to be revived once, which means that its on-death effect is triggered and will be triggered again once it dies. And so unfortunately, this on-death effect triggers, and this card is now removed because it says remove 1 item from the attacking creature, and that's the only one that was left. And so now we're stuck a little bit, but at least we got rid of that one. This is here. Beastmaster goes and does 20 points, 18 points of damage into the open lane here, bringing the 70 down to 52. I did already look at the spell cards, by the way, for the first round of defense, and there wasn't anything we were going to play, so I just went ahead and skipped that. So we're going to go ahead and go to our end phase, draw 3 cards to get back up to 5. And all right, so now we're going to pass it to the other team. All right, so here we go. Now we've got 5 cards here. We can't play these. We can play this one, which gives it a +3 defense to any creature. We can play this because it's an accessory. So an armor here, a weapon here, and an accessory here. That's the spaces that you have. So what we're going to do now is we are going to look at how to finish the game. So we've got 13 + 3, 16 against this 13 + 2. And then we've got 15 + 3 against this 17. And so we will be able to beat this. The counterattack of 13 + 3, 16 is not going to be enough to defeat our defense. We have a lot of defense here. Okay, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and allow both of these to attack straight ahead. And we'll head to first right of defense. We'll see what we've got. Looks like we've got really our biggest one is midway camp. So which one do we want to have survive is really the question. We're probably going to go with the one that has the equipment cards attached. So we're going to go to midway camp, receive half damage in a chosen lane this combat phase. So we'll save this card. This card is done. We'll send that there. Okay. And so we'll send it back, draw 1 more. Get up to 5, and then we'll pass. Beastmaster could go there and wipe them out, but then this is probably going to be our last turn. So do we want to do that? Are we going to be able to protect ourselves? We do have recovery, which is an accessory. So we can do kind of the same thing that just happened here with that accessory. We can boost that. So now instead of 17, we have 20. And pretty good because that attack is going to be 20 and it's got to be more than 20 to beat it. Meets it, it does not beat it. So we're going to equip there. Yeah. And then we're going to attack Beastmaster to Soren's Guard. Soren's Guard is going to take this 20 damage and is going to return back 16, which does not kill it. Okay, so Beastmaster is going to attack Soren's Guard, but Soren's Guard, we do have a spell card. So we're going to cast Divine Destruction. That will add 5 points of damage to any single attack or counterattack. So this 16 turns into 21, which is enough to defeat this from this creature because it has a 12 plus 5, which is 17 plus 3, 20. So this brings it to 21, and so Soren's Guard is going to counterattack there, even though he dies. Going to counterattack and wipe out this creature unless there is an opposing spell card, which there is not. So there you go. That is game. Hopefully that did what we said we set out to do on this video, and just to show you kind of the flow, the feel, the vibe of combat and what it's like to duel in Everdawn. If you want to see those, if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe, all the different things. But yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys in the Discord. The link is in the description below. And so, yeah, help us bring this card game to life. You can see up here, we've kind of got our banner for the Founder series that's happening right now, and you can join in our Discord, and anyone can hop into the Founder series and have your name forever cemented on our website as a part of the group that originally brought Everdawn to life. So yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate you watching, and yeah, we'll see you on the next video.